Welcome to One on One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper, and today we're at the Arthur W. Perdue Stadium in Salisbury, home of the Shorebirds, because it's softball week here in Salisbury. About 5,000 softball players, and we're going to talk about County Parks, Recreation, and Tourism with Steve Miller. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You're a relatively new director. You've been in the job 6 months?
6 months.
How's it going?
It's going well. It's been a transition like anything of this nature is, and starting to get my feet under me, and we're adjusting and we're moving forward. So we're excited.
Now, you were someone that was in the hierarchy of the system previously. What was your job before?
That's correct. I started in 2009 as the athletic complex manager, and then 2 years later moved over to tourism. Spent a few years in tourism, became the tourism manager, and then last December was promoted to be the department's director.
Right. Now, when Bob Culver told me that he had promoted you, I was like, who's this guy? And he's like, oh, no, he's going to be good. So then I asked John Cannon, the county council president, I was like, can you believe the guy that Bob hired for this? And John's like, he's going to be really good. So you've got the faith of the people above you for sure. You've done something to earn that.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
So you're in charge of a very high-profile department. It's the jewel of the county system. Mm-hmm. Is that a lot of pressure?
It is. It is. We know that our department is really the quality of life department for this county. When you talk about recreation opportunities or parks and the assets that we have with the Civic Center and tourism, we know that the county needs the types of assets that we can provide. And certainly it's some pressure, but honestly it's a good thing. The stuff we do is fun stuff. It's stuff that people enjoy to do, and it's just a matter of us and our team delivering.
Right, and it seems like the county appreciates the department in terms of it's always been not an easy fund, but they've always paid good attention to it at budget time.
Yeah, certainly. Can't complain there. It's my first time through, so I'm not going to complain about that. But
right.
No, certainly we've gotten the support of the executive and the council, and it's critical, and it's something we're very appreciative of as we move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
Ed Urban, who was very involved in tourism and the park system, as a businessman, always said that when they decided to move Grumman here, they had subscribed to the Daily Times for a couple of months, and they would read it every day to get a sense of what the community was. Mm-hmm. And what always impressed him was how important recs and parks were, how many leagues there were, what the participation was, the fact that the newspaper printed the results of all the different games and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's really part of the culture here.
It really is. Yeah, and I think that's developed over many years. I mean, when you talk about the newness of being director, we've been around. We're one of the oldest recreation parks departments in the state of Maryland, and I'm the third director in 70-some years.
Right.
So we've had 2 stints of 30-some years, and you talk about it being ingrained in the culture, and certainly those gentlemen before me laid that path and helped develop that culture. And my job is to keep it going and hopefully to improve upon it.
Yeah, Lauren Record, who I knew 100 years ago when I was a Cub reporter interviewing him, I was always amazed how much he knew about everything. And back then it was such a different area because we were swimming in Leonard and Mill Pond and Shoemaker and that kind of thing. And it was that took the place of like a city pool. That was, and it was just one of those things where recreation parks met a need.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really exist anymore, but I don't know if that need is the same as it was.
I don't think so. It's evolved as we've gone. I think swimming, you mentioned swimming, that's probably one area that we don't have a lot. We have the pool at the Hazel Center, of course, the YMCA, but there's not a lot of opportunities there, and that's certainly something that we're cognizant of. But yeah, the needs have changed over the years, and it's evolved, and there's other groups that have popped up that provide recreation opportunities and travel sports, and so the game's changed over the years. But yeah.
Now, your big thing is the Civic Center. That's where your office is.
It is.
And there's so much attention there. Lots going on at the Civic Center right now. Talk to me about that. Talk about these new seats I keep hearing about.
Yeah, so we're installing new seats as part of a total renovation of that building. So we've currently, at this point, we've installed the upper level seats. We're going to start the removal of the lower seats next week. We should, by September, the arena itself should be done. And in conjunction with that, as that's happening, we're demoing in other parts of the building with replacing the floor and new paint and ceiling tiles, all that kind of thing. So it's, Civic Center is one of our jewels in the community. We're sitting in another one here in Perdue Stadium. And when you look at our park system, and you mentioned Civic Center especially, a lot of these things were built in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And at this point, one of my main jobs is to try to continue to rehab and to make sure that these facilities can be sustained. And a lot of these are now 20, 30, 40 years old, and they're starting to break down a little bit, and that's something that we're certainly is high on the priority list. Now,
the seats at the Civic Center on the lower level are more complicated because they pull out.
Yes.
They're retractable.
Correct.
I guess.
Yeah, now they'll be, we don't have to do it manually, so they'll be able to be done motorized and whatnot. So it'll be a lot quicker turnaround, a lot better technology, a lot more comfortable seat, and cup holders and all the
Right.
rest. So just nice things for our folks that come.
And the ceiling's going to be new, and there's some painting that's happened.
Yeah, there's around the building in the meeting rooms. We're replacing ceilings, doing a paint job, and we've already painted the ceiling in the arena. So I think when folks come for this fall season and winter season, as we get busy again, certainly in the arena they're going to see a new facility, and then the other pieces are going to start to come into play here in the next 6 months to a year, and we're really excited about it.
Right, and I have to say the catering, when they put the kitchens out there, I was one of the people who was like, that's not going to work. No one wants to go eat at the Civic Center, but it's good.
It really is. It really is.
I don't know how you guys have done it, but it's a good meal out there when you go to events.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I know our food service folks work incredibly hard, incredibly long hours. You know, they'll go 30 days in a row with events during the busy times, and those folks work awfully hard, and it's a big part of the business there to help keep the tax appropriation down. And you mentioned it's great food. They do a
Right.
fantastic job. Yeah.
I mean, something like the chicken banquet every year where there's
Right.
4,000 people. I mean, it used to be catered, and the food was just never good because they were hauling it in.
Right.
But it's good now.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
What else? Civic Center, the big news there is alcohol.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Now, your predecessor fought for this forever. No one would listen to him, and you
Yeah.
walk in and you get alcohol.
well, it's Miller time, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the line.
Yeah,
Right.
I got to give the executive credit on that.
Yeah.
He really took the ball and pushed that forward, and I give him credit for that. But it's been a long time coming. I know those before have tried that, and the timing, I guess, just was never right. But certainly the timing's right now, and we're going to be ready. I think we're shooting for October 1 to be ready to serve. Right now we're in that transition process of making sure our folks are trained and hired, and we want to do it right and do it responsibly, and we will.
And I was surprised when I read that because I thought you just bring the keg in and let's go. But
Yeah.
no, you're going to train people,
Yeah.
and you're actually going to pick events that might not have alcohol.
Yeah.
So you're putting a lot of thought into it, obviously.
There is, and you know, we've waited 30 years or however long it's been. A couple more months is not going to kill anybody. And again, we've told this to many people. We want to do it right. We want to do it responsibly. It won't be at every single event, and we're taking it very seriously. And we think it will be an added asset to that facility. We feel like not only with the retention of what we have, but we're excited about the possibilities that could open. Having worked the last few years in tourism, one of the complaints, and when we try to attract conference business and convention and that type of thing, that is one of the downsides. It's hard to sell a building like that. And so when you look at that, and then you look at franchise opportunities and different things, it has potential to be a real game changer.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm disappointed because as a parent, Sesame Street Live and Disney on Ice would be much more enhanced with the availability of alcohol.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of
Or
events.
tolerable, at least.
Yeah, I guess so. It depends on your perspective, but yeah.
This place has undergone a complete renovation. Now, the Shorebirds have done most of that, but you guys have had a role in that.
Yeah, certainly. We work hand in hand with the Shorebirds. The county owns the stadium.
Right.
Shorebirds do the operations, but you know, Chris was talking.
Purdue's donated the land, county owns the stadium, Shorebirds run things
They run
inside.
the operation,
Right.
correct? Yeah. So yeah, we've been working hand in hand on all the renovations. The county's funding part of it, the state's funding part of it, of course, and the Shorebirds as well. So it's really a cooperative venture, and our partnership with the Shorebirds is very important. And this facility is important. Chris mentioned it today. Just how important, not just for the minor league baseball opportunity as a quality of life experience, but all the other opportunities that are here. You mentioned the World Series.
Right.
Our first opening ceremony was out here, so we had about 5,000 kids and parents out here.
Wow.
Just enjoying the stadium. And for a community this size to have something like this and a civic center and all the things that we have, we're fortunate. And you know, I came from a small town in a different part of the country, and you know, when you come to a place like this, it's easy to fall in love with it just because there is so much here, and it's just become home. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. People, they'll say to me that they don't get, like, why are we having these tournaments? Like,
Right.
They don't understand it. But I was at Tokyo Steakhouse. Every table had a softball team at it. This morning at Starbucks, the line was kids in softball gear and their parents
Yeah.
at a down time, and you can tell it really does have an economic benefit.
Yeah, it really does, and it's good to hear that, and I've seen it myself, and I've heard that from, you know, restaurant owners and people in the community, and it's just one of those things that just lifts everybody when you get that kind of activity and outside dollars coming in.
Right.
Those dollars stay here, and people are put to work, and that circulates. And then when you look at, you know, tourism's funded by hotel room tax. So
Right.
So when you produce all that and it doesn't cost the taxpayer anything, it's just all benefit, and that helps fund the zoo and helps fund the civic center and all that kind of thing. So it just, it's one of those things that perpetuates itself. So the World Series is such an important thing to us, but we're always looking for other stuff like it, and particularly in those off-season times where the hotels and the restaurants, need the business. So,
right.
Yeah.
You're from New England. You're a Red
Yes,
Sox
sir.
fan. I'm sure you've been to Pawtucket.
Yeah.
What was it like when you first came here and you saw our little stadium here? Were you impressed, or what'd you think?
I love it. Yeah, I've been to Pawtucket, been to Fenway, all the rest. I love baseball, so this is fantastic to have this for. I've got 3 little boys, and for us to be able to come out and have an affordable night and watch baseball, my boys love it. So
Isn't it fun? It's just fun.
it is. It's fun. It's a good atmosphere. A lot of kids, a lot of families, and it's just neat. So I love baseball, so anything baseball, I'll sign off on.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
You mentioned tourism. We just had an article in the paper last week, finally, your Tourism Appreciation Awards, where you thank businesses for how they've contributed with the county and all
Yes.
that. That's a great program.
It really is, and I think one of the things that we constantly are preaching, and we found a great partner in the Chamber of Commerce and the business folks in our community, but tourism and hospitality is really a community effort. We could run an event, you could bring an event, but if folks come here and they go into a restaurant or they go into a shop or a mall or whatever and have a bad experience, it reflects on everybody. And so when you look at that, one of the things we're really proud about is how the businesses here have really opened their arms. They put, welcome you SSSA on the marquee, and
Yeah.
when the Poodles come to town, they do the same thing. And when that happens, that's a difference maker for us, and it's just special because I think this community has really seen the value. At least a lot of folks have, not everybody, but they've seen the value of it. And it's our job to continue to get that message out there and hopefully increase the buy-in, because it really is a community effort.
Yeah. Now, the rec programs are fascinating to watch because it seems like to me historically, like the county will dominate their rec programs, and then a bunch of parents get mad and they go off and they start their own group, and that goes for a while, and then everyone goes back to the county again. I get the sense right now the county's on the up with that.
Yeah, in recent years, yeah, it does cycle, and it cycles from sport to sport.
Right.
It can cycle. People splinter off, and certainly the travel sports scene has changed a lot on the youth side.
Right.
But our niche, really, quite honestly, in recreation parks is the younger ages and the recreational model, where it's about participation and fun and instruction, and that's really our niche. And there are folks out there that are doing a great job with the other, but that's been our niche.
Right.
Yeah.
How important is that? I mean, we talk about it in terms of the culture. I know that so much of my character is based on participating in those sports when I was a kid in this county, and just having a chance, the opportunity, the facilities. We didn't have a Henry Parker Park back then. We had Harmon Field.
Right. Right.
But great facility up there.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and that's the jewel really of our park system. We've got a really fantastic park system. I mentioned it's aging, and it's something that we're addressing,
Right.
park by park. But Parker is I think the jewel as far as our park system goes in this county. People love the trees and the shade. That's not something you see at most parks.
Right.
People are baking out in the sun all day long, and you got trees and shade and all that kind of thing out there. And it's certainly an asset for locals, but also for our tourism initiatives. And that's one of our major goals here in the next year, is to look to expand and have additional ball fields out there.
And politically, that was a situation where I thought the system worked. There's been a couple of those lately, but that worked in that the city was going to gift over its portion of the park, adjoining land there, for softball fields. Environmentalists, people who were concerned about nature, showed great concern. And then Bob Culver was able to find some land to the east of that area instead for the softball fields. What's the status with that right now?
It's still pending right now. The county has an option to purchase the land, so there's things that need to be worked through on that to make that official. But we have alternate plans as well. Even with that, we have backup plans as well. But I think the end goal, no matter how we get there, whether it was that original piece or whatever, I think the end goal. We want to end up with 8 ball fields out there. Right now we've got 5, and 8 is really a key number for tournament organizers that look to bring big activities there.
Right, and you see that right now. You're having to share with Worcester County
Correct.
for this event.
Correct. Yeah, and with the World Series, we'll still have to expand beyond Parker.
Right.
We need 20-some fields to run that event. But when you look at a hub facility for an event of that size. You know, from an organizer perspective, they can consolidate their resources. It becomes that central point of the event, and there's just so much opportunity, not only to retain what we have, but opportunity in baseball and other sports, where we really feel like that can take us to the next level as far as what we're trying to do in tourism.
Right.
Yeah.
The trails there at Henry Parker are great. Bicyclists for walking. It's so much fun back there. It really is terrific. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, and I don't know if I'm insulting anyone, but I've complained about the trails at Pemberton, especially down there along the river, for years and years and years. Gary Mackes and I used to fight about this. He used to say, "Do you know how hard it is to maintain those with the high tides and the storms and the trees?" I'd be like, "I don't care. You can do a better job." But somehow here this spring, since after you came in charge, and maybe you don't deserve the credit, that trail down there by the river is great now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'll let Gary know that next time I see him.
How did it happen? How did it get great all of a sudden?
I'll give our parks crew deserves the credit. I don't deserve the credit for that. But no, we have a fantastic parks crew, and they work awfully hard to cover a lot of ground in this county with our park system. But yeah, I think that's a strong coincidence.
Okay, that Pemberton Park is terrific. Henry Parker Park is terrific down in Tyaskin, and Roaring Point. I agree with the locals down there. You need to remove all the signs. We don't want any visitors down there. We need it for just locals at Roaring Point. Yeah,
that's become a problem. It's become too well known and too popular, but it's a fantastic place. I mean, I brought my boys out there. It's a great place to
you get the sunset over the water certain days of the year. And
the parking, there's limited parking, and it's not designed for large groups, but it sure is a pretty sight. Yeah.
So what do you want to do with this job? You've got a lot of employees. How many employees do you have?
We have 50 some odd full-time employees, and then we use hundreds of part-time folks. So
right, lots of organization.
There is.
Lots of news events, constant events that you're having to promote. We'll talk about the fair, but where do you want to take this job? What do you want to do as being only the third guy to run this Parks and Rec and Tourism?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, initially just to survive, and I've done that to this point. But no, I think when you look down the road, I mentioned one is rehabbing our facilities. We're just at the point in the life cycle, a lot of these facilities, that they just need some attention, and I think as a steward of that, I think we owe our attention to this facility at Purdue, the Civic Center, our park system, and that's one of the major things that we need to do over the next few years. One of the other things that I'm passionate about is kids and youth. I've got kids of my own. My background was in recreation.
How old are your boys?
9, 6, and 4.
Okay, that's some hard parenting age there.
Yeah, we're right in the thick of it. So
yeah, a lot of questions all the time.
Yeah, it sure is. But I love it. I come home and within 5 minutes I'm playing baseball or playing basketball or something. But I'm passionate about kids, and you know, when I look in the community, there are needs for kids, particularly kids who are at risk and in tough neighborhoods and tough situations. And the county's done a lot, and I know other groups around the county have done a lot. But I've been encouraged in recent weeks. We're part of a coalition with the mayor's office and the county and other community leaders to try, instead of everyone operating independently around the county, to really consolidate, find out what are the needs out there, and then how can we meet those needs together. And so that's something that I really want to continue to be a part of and to help push forward. And I think the county absolutely needs to be part of that effort, and we're going to be. And then I want to continue to push the ball as far as economic development. Tourism is absolutely an economic engine in this county. Last year alone in fiscal 16, we did over 50 events in tourism. It was over $50 million total economic impact. And we truly believe that we've not peaked. We believe if we can build ball fields and continue to leverage what we have with alcohol at the Civic Center, all these types of things, there is opportunity out there. But we need to continue to be aggressive. We need to continue to, it's just very competitive, especially when you're talking youth sports. It's just very competitive.
Right.
And we need to continue to offer that first-class experience, whether it's food or hospitality or whatever it is. And it's a community effort, but I think we're up for that challenge, and that's something we want to continue to push forward, because as soon as we sit on our hands with something like that, you might as well say goodbye to those opportunities, and certainly I don't want that to happen under my watch.
I'm glad you mentioned the city the way you did, because it's always seemed the city doesn't have its own Parks and Rec department. Exactly, they have like Public Works that does the park, but it's not the same sort of thing. And it's always seemed to me, and I could be way off, that the county kind of doesn't do things in the city, or the city didn't want the county involved in some of the stuff in, like the Lake Street Park. I mean, there was a fight there. It took them forever to get the bathroom repaired because of politics, basically. And I think there's opportunities for the county within the city, with these programs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we use city parks for some of our at-risk programs.
Right.
And me being new, I'm still developing relationships, but I felt like it's been very positive with the city.
The fishing competition this year again, that's gone on for years and years and years. I fished in that thing when I was a kid, and it still goes on, and it's just like I remembered. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to go. I wanted to bring my boys, but we were traveling. But it's a fun thing.
Yeah, it's just great that the county's kept that up.
Yeah.
All right, tell me about the county fair.
Yeah, County Fair, Farm and Home Show, and Chamber of Commerce have headed up that effort. The county is certainly a partner in that effort. They'll be out at the Equestrian Center and Winter Place in that area. The county, as far as our department,
You're hosting it.
We're hosting it, and we're not directly involved, so I couldn't tell you all the specific activities. But it's August 17th to the 19th, I believe. Free event. They do just a fantastic job with the amount of planning and all the attractions that will be out there. They're going to add fireworks this year, as you heard. So we're excited to be a part of that effort, and certainly want to assist to make that a great community event.
And again, another jewel, Winter Place Park.
It really is, yeah. Yeah, in the Equestrian Center, the whole with the carriage house out there, it's certainly another gem in our county.
Yeah, that was another one. I mean, it was basically like a pole building, historically, and when they wanted to renovate it, I was like, they should just tear the thing down. Yeah, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been one of the neat things about the first 6 months in the job. We had an opportunity to go with our park superintendent and do a tour of all the parks. And, I've been here 6 years in the county, 7 years. And, being involved with tourism, I didn't have a need to go to certain parks. And so there's parks that I didn't even know were there, to be honest with you. And going around to see all these different things, there's just some awfully pretty spots. I mean, you mentioned Roaring Point, but there's so many different spots through the county that are real gems. And, again, I give credit to those who came before us that have really developed that park system, and we want to continue to perpetuate that. It's just, we're very fortunate. I continue to say the same thing, but we're just very fortunate to have the opportunities and the things that we have in this community.
The Visitor Center up at Leonard Mill, always a lot of traffic there.
Yeah. In fact, last year was the busiest visitor center in the state of Maryland. We'll get, I think it's about 30,000 folks walk through the doors. You get about 6 million or something like that coming down Route 13 there.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And that's another jewel. I know you said you used to swim out there.
Right.
I've seen the pictures of the beach down there by the pond there.
It was heaven. It was so much fun. I mean, we would get swimmers here and be in the hospital for weeks after that, but
it's worth it.
It was so polluted. But it was just fun.
Yeah. I can see that.
And I test them out there. I'll go out there and ask dumb questions just to see if the staff, if they're competent, and they're great. Good.
That was my next question. How did they do? But.
Right. And I get the feeling maybe you've got some volunteers out there even.
Yeah. We're primarily part-time staff, but we do have folks that volunteer, and it's folks. I think one of the things that folks appreciate, and having worked out there, they always write we ask them to sign in, and we want to see where they're coming from and all that kind of thing. But the comments that they write is usually on the cleanliness of the facility and how pretty it is out there. And we got the playground and pavilion and all that type of thing out there. But they love the bathrooms. They love the staff there. And as a first impression, when folks come through our county, it's right on the line, and folks come in. I think it's a good first impression, and hopefully they experience that in the rest of the county.
What's the big misperception people might have about your department that you hear and you have to tell people, no, it's not really like that?
Boy, there's several. I think, I think the idea that there's so little waste, and I don't know that people know to the extent of how little waste there is. We use inmate labor, we use volunteers, we save money with doing our own repairs in our park system. We've got mechanics on staff, and try to outsource as little as we can. And I know that message has been out there, but it's just something that I think we do so much more with less. We're one of the lowest as far as tax appropriation per citizen on the shore, and certainly in the state of Maryland.
In the country.
Yeah.
Considering all the stuff that's in that department, the amount of money that's contributed is just for the Civic Center, how much that costs it's like less than half a cent per person in the county.
Yeah,
Or, I mean,
it's about that.
yeah.
Yeah, and you look at all that, and you look at all the impact that it has in the community, and we've got folks that work awfully hard. I mean, you know, we've got a big department and a big staff, and it's a lot to oversee, but we've got really good people, and they care, and that's an important thing to me, certainly. And when you work with people that care and that have passion for their community, you want that to be appreciated by the community. And I think for the most part it is, but I think a lot of folks don't realize that. They assume it's government and it's wasteful, and
Right.
It's not always the case.
Right. And the feedback you get from the athletic programs is pretty solid, or
Yeah, as far as recreation goes,
Yeah.
it's very positive. You know,
there must be 30 softball leagues. I mean,
yeah,
there's so much going on up there all the time.
yeah, there's a lot going on, and when you look at other facilities in the community, certainly down in Fruitland, they've got the Falcons and Crown Sports Center, and there's other opportunities. But again, I think for what we offer and the value that we offer it at, we're pleased with the product that we have, and certainly we're always looking to improve. And as things evolve, the needs change a lot. You know, softball is a great example. You know, a lot of guys coming out of school and that used to play baseball. In the old days, everyone would just jump right into men's softball. Now it's changed a little bit, and people are, you know, getting older that play softball. So we have to evolve as the needs of the community change, and we're prepared to do that. But I think overall, we're very pleased with our products and our camps and what we do in the schools. We're very pleased.
I'm just ask real quick about hockey. You're going to tell me you're not involved in it, but talk of hockey in the Civic Center. Anything you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, not well. No, we're at the point now. It's, you know, I know folks are excited when we got approved to sell alcohol, and we are exploring all sorts of different opportunities. Hockey is certainly one of them. We've been in touch with hockey leagues and franchises, but that's not the only place that our focus and our effort is. There's other professional sports franchises that could call the Civic Center a home. There's other
roller derby. I love roller derby.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, there's arena football and indoor
Right.
soccer and all sorts of different opportunities. You have to find a partner, and for something like hockey to work, it's going to take an investment. You have to have a nice
Right.
plan, locker rooms expanded, all those types of things. So it's not going to happen overnight, but you know, we're at that point now where we're exploring all opportunities. We're kind of casting a wide net to see what's out there, see what's realistic, what we can afford to do, and on a personal level, I would love to see it. I grew up in a community that
Right.
had minor league hockey, and I think it's like the Shorebirds is just an awesome opportunity to have. But it has to make sense, and we're going to go down that road and explore everything we can.
Thanks for being here today.
Yeah,
This has
thank
been
you.
great. I've learned
Yeah,
a lot.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
He's Steve Miller. He's the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism for Wycomico County. We're here at the Shorebird Stadium, which is part of his domain,
That's it.
basically. I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent Newspaper, another edition of One on One right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and One on One. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.